Billy Abbott had no idea that within the next few hours, his entire world was about to flip upside down. A delay in a simple London trip, a casual conversation at society, a quiet moment at home, and then one sentence from Sally Spectra that would leave him completely stunned. At the same time, miles away in Las Vegas, something far more dangerous was unfolding. Adam Newman was about to walk straight into a trap. Nick Newman's life was hanging in the balance, and Matt Clark was playing a deadly game. Everything was about to collide. Billy stood with his phone still in his hand, staring at the floor for a moment after ending the call with Jill Abbott. The London trip was officially pushed back. It should have been simple, no big deal, just logistics. But something didn't sit right with him. He couldn't shake that feeling. Moments later, Billy made his way into society, spotting Jack Abbott already there. Jack looked tired. Not just physically, but emotionally drained. Billy slid into the seat across from him, trying to keep things light at first. But it didn't take long for the tension to creep in. Because Billy had something on his mind. Sally. There was something off about her, something she wasn't saying. And Billy could feel it. He leaned forward slightly, watching Jack closely. But instead of jumping straight into it, Billy shifted the conversation. He asked Jack about his marriage, about Diane. That's when Jack let it all out. The frustration, the disappointment, the exhaustion. Jack admitted that no matter what he did, nothing seemed to get through to Diane, not even after everything he'd already forgiven, faking her own death, lying, manipulating the people around her. Jack had let all of that go. For her. And still, it wasn't enough. Billy listened carefully, nodding slowly. He understood more than Jack probably expected. Because from Diane's perspective, maybe things weren't so simple. Billy brought up Patty Williams, the history, the trauma, the images that don't just disappear no matter how much time passes. For Diane, seeing Jack tied to that past again, it had to mess with her head. Jack sighed, rubbing his temples. He didn't want to give up. Not yet. He said he'd keep trying, keep fighting for the marriage. But there was doubt in his voice, and Billy heard it. Soon after, Jack left society, heading back to the Abbott mansion, and when he got there, Kyle Abbott was waiting. Kyle didn't waste time. Diane had been there. She'd come back just to pick up more of her things. That alone said a lot. Jack stood there for a moment, processing it. Kyle looked concerned, asking if his father was finally giving up. Jack shook his head slightly, but his words told a different story. Maybe it didn't matter anymore if Diane had already given up on him. That was the truth neither of them wanted to face. Because no relationship survives if only one person is fighting for it. And right now, Jack felt like he was fighting alone. Kyle didn't like hearing that. He pushed back. Tried to keep hope alive, but Jack's energy was fading. After Kyle left, Jack stood quietly in the room, then reached for his phone. If Diane wasn't going to be there, he wasn't going to sit alone with his thoughts. He called Nicky Newman, dinner plans. Something to distract himself, something to avoid the silence. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Sally Spectra was staring at something that felt a lot more terrifying than any broken relationship. A small object in her hand. A pregnancy test. Her fingers trembled slightly as she tried to open it. She couldn't even focus properly, because her mind was already racing ahead, to all the possibilities, to all the consequences. Audra Charles stood nearby, watching her carefully. She could see exactly what Sally was going through. The fear, the hesitation, the memories. Audra stepped closer, her voice soft but steady. She started talking about London, about what happened between her and Noah Newman. About the baby she lost. It wasn't easy for her to say those words out loud. But she did it anyway, because she understood. She understood what it felt like to stand at that exact moment, on the edge of something life-changing. Sally listened, her eyes filling slightly as the weight of it all pressed down on her. That loss still lingered. Even now. Even after everything. And maybe that's why this moment felt even heavier, because it wasn't just about what could happen, it was about what had already been lost. Audra gently encouraged her, no more running, no more delaying, just take the test. Sally took a breath. A slow one, then finally, she did it. Minutes felt like hours. The silence in the room became unbearable. Audra stayed with her, didn't say much. Just there, waiting, supporting, and then Sally stepped out, holding the test in her hand. Her face said everything before the words even came out. Positive. She was pregnant. The reality hit instantly, and Sally looked like she couldn't even process it. Her entire world tilted. Everything changed in that moment. Audra quickly stepped in again, trying to ground her, telling her she could handle this, that she wasn't alone, that this didn't have to be the end of everything, but Sally barely heard it. Because one thought kept echoing in her mind. Billy. How was she going to tell him? Back at Crimson Lights, another storm was building. Sharon Newman stood across from Noah Newman, her expression filled with concern. She didn't want him to go. Las Vegas wasn't safe right now. Too many unknowns. Too many things going wrong, but Noah wasn't listening, because something felt off. Nick wasn't answering, Adam wasn't answering, and now Chelsea Lawson had gone silent too. That wasn't normal, not even close. Noah's instincts were kicking in, and they were telling him something was seriously wrong. Sharon tried to reason with him, told him to wait. To think. But Noah shook his head. He couldn't sit around doing nothing, not when his family might be in danger. As if that wasn't enough, there was more pressure piling on. Devon Winters had filed a petition. Maria Copeland's plea agreement might be reviewed. That meant more uncertainty, more stress, more risk. Noah felt like everything was spiraling at once. And he was right in the middle of it. Just then, Audra appeared. But something was different. She looked shaken, her usual confidence gone. Noah immediately noticed and walked over, guiding her to a table on the patio. He asked what was wrong, and Audra didn't hold back. She started talking about London again, about the memories, about the baby. Her voice cracked slightly as she spoke. And Noah softened. All the tension, all the worry, it faded for a moment as he focused on her. He reached out and pulled her into a hug, a quiet emotional moment. Two people connected by something painful, something real. But while emotions were running high in Genoa City, in Las Vegas, danger was already closing in. Chelsea Lawson stood face to face with Matt Clark, her eyes burning with anger. Adam Newman stood right beside her, and both of them knew one thing for sure: Matt had lied. Nick wasn't dead. Not from an overdose. That story didn't add up, and now they were done playing along. Adam stepped forward, grabbing Matt by the collar, his grip tight. His patience was gone. He demanded answers, now. But Chelsea quickly stepped in, her voice sharp. If Adam lost control, they'd never get the truth. And they needed the truth. They needed to find Nick. Adam hesitated, but only for a second, then he forced himself to let go, barely. His eyes never left Matt. "Take me to him," Adam said coldly. Matt paused. For a moment it looked like he might refuse. But then, he agreed. He'd take Adam to Nick. But only Adam. Chelsea immediately protested. No way she was staying behind. But Matt shut that down fast. She wasn't coming, no discussion. That left Chelsea stuck with someone she trusted even less. Riza Thompson. Chelsea turned toward her, eyes filled with suspicion. She didn't believe a word Riza said. Not after everything, not with her connection to Matt. Chelsea made it clear, if Nick wasn't alive, if this turned out to be another lie, Riza would regret it. Because Chelsea wasn't holding back anymore, not this time, not when Nick's life was on the line. Meanwhile, Matt led Adam deeper into the building. Down a quiet hallway, toward a closed door. He opened it slowly. Inside, a storage room. And there, on the floor, Nick Newman. Unconscious. Not dead. But not responding either. Adam rushed forward instantly, dropping to his knees beside his brother. He tried to wake him, called his name, shook him slightly. Nothing. Nick didn't move, didn't react. Panic started to rise, and that's when everything went black. Because behind him, Matt Clark raised something heavy and struck Adam from behind. Hard. Adam collapsed instantly, unconscious. Matt didn't hesitate. He stepped back, looking down at both brothers lying there, then walked out, closing the door, locking it. leaving Adam and Nick trapped, with no way out. And no one coming, at least, not yet. Because the real question now wasn't just what Matt wanted, it was, would anyone realize what had happened before it was too late? Billy wasn't ready, not for what he was about to hear, not for the moment that was waiting for him at home, because while he had been out trying to make sense of other people's problems, his own life was about to explode. The door closed behind him as he stepped inside. Everything felt normal, too normal. Sally was there, quiet, still, and the second Billy saw her face, he knew. Something had changed. He moved closer, studying her expression. There was tension in her eyes, fear, and something else, something deeper. Billy tried to keep his voice steady, asked if everything was okay. Sally didn't answer right away. She just looked at him, like she was trying to find the right words. But there were no easy words for this, no gentle way to say it. Finally, she spoke. "I'm pregnant." Just like that. No build-up, no warning, and the silence that followed was deafening. Billy blinked. Once, twice. Like his brain was struggling to catch up. Pregnant, the word echoed in his mind, over and over again. He looked at her, searching for something, anything that would make it make sense. But there was no misunderstanding, no confusion. This was real. Sally stood there waiting, bracing herself. Because she had no idea how Billy was going to react. And honestly, neither did he. His thoughts collided all at once. The past, the future, the responsibility, the fear, everything hit him at the same time, and for a moment, he couldn't speak, couldn't move, just stood there, stunned, not with everything they'd already been through, not with the risks, the emotional weight, the consequences, and yet it was happening, right now. Meanwhile, far from that quiet, tense moment. In Las Vegas, things were getting worse, much worse. Adam lay motionless on the floor, beside Nick, both of them unconscious, both of them completely vulnerable. The storage room was silent, dark, cold, no windows, no way out. Nick stirred slightly, just a small movement, a faint sign of life. But not enough, not nearly enough. Because neither of them knew where they were, or what Matt was planning next. Outside that room, Matt Clark walked calmly down the hallway, like nothing had happened. Like trapping two powerful men was just another step in his plan, because that's exactly what it was. A plan, carefully built, carefully executed. And far from over, back where Chelsea was still waiting, tension filled the air, every second felt longer than the last. She paced slightly, her mind racing. This didn't feel right, none of it did. She turned toward Riser again, her patience completely gone. She demanded answers, but Riser didn't have any. Or at least, that's what she claimed. Chelsea didn't believe her, not for a second. Because too many things didn't add up. Too many lies, too many secrets. Chelsea stepped closer, her voice dropping into something colder, more dangerous. She warned Reza again, if Nick wasn't alive, if this turned into something worse, there would be consequences. Serious ones. Because Chelsea wasn't just worried anymore, she was ready to fight. Ready to do whatever it took. Meanwhile, back in Genoa City, emotions were still running high. Noah pulled back slightly from the hug with Audra, looking at her carefully. There was still pain in her eyes, still something unresolved. But there was also comfort, a connection, something that hadn't fully disappeared. Noah gently reassured her, told her she wasn't alone, that whatever she was feeling, it mattered. And for a moment, Audra let herself believe that. But reality was still there, waiting, because outside of that moment, everything was still falling apart. Noah checked his phone again, still nothing, no calls, no messages, just silence, and that silence was getting louder. More dangerous, because the longer it lasted, the worse the situation probably was. Back at the Abbott mansion, Jack sat alone for a moment, staring into space. The call with Nikki still fresh in his mind. Dinner plans. A distraction, but it wouldn't fix anything, it wouldn't bring Diane back. It wouldn't repair what was already breaking, because deep down, Jack knew the truth. He was losing her, and no matter how hard he tried, he might not be able to stop it. But even that pain was nothing compared to what was unfolding elsewhere, because right now, two brothers were trapped. A woman was hiding a life-changing secret. And a dangerous man was still one step ahead. And the real question was no longer just about survival, it was about timing. Because if no one reached Adam and Nick soon, if no one figured out Matt's game, then this situation could turn deadly. Very fast. So now the question becomes, will Billy step up when Sally needs him most, or will this pregnancy tear them apart before it even begins? And more importantly, who will find Adam and Nick before Matt Clark's next move turns this into a tragedy that no one can escape?